Okay, my friends. So we're gonna recreate that thing that I just created on the whiteboard right here in Excel. So everybody, go ahead and click on Excel, which is going to start you up a brand new spreadsheet. And I want it to be a completely blank spreadsheet. Don't want you to use the Excel calculator that I've got linked from before. We're going to start this from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to type the word year, just because we're going to keep track, just like I did on the chalkboard, we're going to keep track of the word years. Okay. And you know what? I'm going to take a real quick stop here at a formatting stop. I don't know why I like this. I like everything to be centered in my spreadsheets for the most part. So if you click up here in the top left corner and then press the center align, you can, this is up and down, this is left to right. I just like things centered. Sorry, it's just the way I am. I also like to bold, underline for the most part. Header titles, just kind of a thing Sean does. And we started at year 0. And then we went to year 1 and year 2 and year 3 and so forth. And I showed you something in Excel a few videos ago. Once you start typing 0, 1, 2, 3, you can highlight that pattern and then you can drag it down as far as you like. And I'm just going to drag mine down to about 20 and then let it go. And that'll be 20 years of growth of money in our account. Okay, and then the next column is going to be amount in account. And I cannot believe I actually spelled all those things correctly. Yay us. All right. Now here's where Excel gets good. This is where we're going to, in year 0, you're just going to type $100 because that's how much we put in. Now, in the amount that we're putting down there is going to be equal to that amount plus 1% times that amount. So I want you to look at that formula real quick. It's the same formula I wrote on the whiteboard in the last video, except for I use a times sign instead of the word of. And that's because Excel doesn't understand. If you write the word of, it doesn't understand what you mean. So you have to use what the percent is of, which means you have to multiply 1% times F5. And realize, too, what 1% means. 1% means 1 divided by 100. So you're really just taking that number and dividing it by 100. But I like writing it as a percent instead. Press Enter, and that number should look familiar to you because that's exactly what we got. We got $101. Okay, now that you have that formula in place, everybody grab that drag handle and pull it down one more. And what you'll notice is when you drag it down, it brings the exact same formula that you just typed down, except what it does is it now changes all the F5s here to F6s. And that's what you want. You wanted that because you want the bank account to apply the 1% back to the previous year. Not all the way back to the original year, but the previous year instead. That's exactly what you want. Now you might say to yourself, wait a minute, I thought we had $102.01. And the answer is we did. It's just that you have to change Excel to show you the extra cents. So if you go like this, use that little thing I showed you a few videos ago, you could increase the cent so that you can actually see that extra little increase the precision, excuse me, so you can see that extra little 1 cent. If you drag it down one more time, this number is going to look familiar too. And if we increase the decimal on that, there's the extra 1/100th of 1 cent that we got. Now what's so cool about this is why I think you're going to learn to love Excel. Once you're here, you see how this goes all the way down to year 20? If you double click on this right now, it auto-fills it all the way down, which means you can actually check each one of those formulas and you see how every single one of them has been updated as it goes down. This is exactly why you want Excel to do problems like this, because it takes care of all the heavy lifting. It's the same math over and over again. Take the year before, bring it down and add 1% to it. Bring it down and add 1%. As a matter of fact, to make it a little bit easier to look at, I'm just going to make all these back to just there, that decimal right there. So, and what's so cool is if you want to go out more than 20 years, let's go out to 30 years. Drag this down to 30 if you want. And then you just click in the last cell here, drag it down again. There you go. So at the end of 30 years, if you started with $100 and you gained 1% per year, you'd end up with $134.78 at the end of 30 years. Okay? You'd pick up an additional $34.78 in interest. Okay, so now what I want you to think about is that this is called financial math. But what I want us to do is I want us to think about how these numbers are changing as they go down. Are they changing? Let's think back to the math we just got done kind of spending a lot of time with. Are they changing linearly? And you know what? Before we answer that question, we're going to come back to this. We're going to leave this right here. Let's go back out to the board and let's chat about what linear data looks like. And then let's see how this is behaving and if it's behaving the same way. Because it's hard to tease out, but we're going to take a look. We're going to take a look. All right, back to the board. Let's look at some linear data like we've been looking at, and then we're going to come back in here and look at this spreadsheet again.